Hello everyone and welcome to another DaVinci Resolve tutorial. This time what we're going to do is we're going to do a retro futuristic display font type thingy. Like this, where basically the letters are kind of underneath a grid-like screen composed of little dots like this. This was again another Reddit question that I thought might make a good tutorial. So let's do this. We're going to start off with a Fusion comp, of course. We're going to go in and open the Fusion. Obviously, we're going to come over. Where is it? We're going to come over here to our media out. We're going to add a background, and we're going to add some temporary text. There we go. We've got our temporary text. What does that look like? Am I not connected? I'm connected. Alright. Merge. Oh, because I'm an idiot and I put a merge instead of a background. Doop doop. There we go. And there we are. So we've got our text. Excellent. Next thing that we want to do is the main effect of this tutorial is really this dot texture. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Some people use the emitter, the particles, to make it, and that's just overkill. The easiest way I found, and the most flexible way I found, is to create a mask. So first things first, we're going to add a background, slap that in there. We're going to add another background, add it on top of the first background, and then we're going to come to this background and we're going to make it a square that's the same as the biggest dimension of our comp, so 1920 by 1920, and we're going to make this white because it's going to be used as part of a mask. We've got a 1920 by 1920 square, white square. We want it to be a bit smaller, so we're going to grab a rectangle. I'm using a rectangle, but you could do it as a dot and then have it, have a dot pattern that is more like a halftone pattern instead. And we might add that afterwards. But we're going to start with a rectangle. It's right in the middle. That's perfect. I'm just going to make the edge just a bit soft. There we go. So it looks a bit more diffused. And if we take a look and see, I'm just going to take the alpha out here so we see it. You'll notice that it's cutting off the edges of the words here. Well, that's because this looks like this. So everything that's white is shown, everything that's black is removed, or transparent is removed, and shades of white creates shades of transparency or opacity. The thing is, we want this to be a tiny dot. So what we need to do is we need to resize it. We're going to use a transform on our dot, and we are going to make this dot tiny. We are going to make this dot 0.004, which is what I found works great for this. And now it's disappeared. But if we take a look, there's a tiny little part of those letters showing up right here, because this is now our mask, or our mat. It is tiny. So what we need to do is we need a grid of this. Well, I guess we could use like a duplicate node or something, but really the easiest way to do is go back to transform. And on edges, use wrap. Boom. We now have a grid of dots. And look at that. We're already halfway there. We've got this nice little effect, and you can change the dots by change the size of the dots by changing the size here. Make more of them, make less of them. So I like 0.04. I think it's a good spot to be at. Now, next thing we need to do. We want this to glow and to have a bit of a harder core. So if we take a look, we go over here, you'll notice that we've got like what looks like a brighter center core. That's because we're actually layering a second copy of the text on it with a different color. This doesn't work well with white. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to, let's say, here, we're going to go with a dark blue. No, we're going to go with a light blue. And then we're going to overlay another copy of the... What did you just do? I want it underneath, right here. That was weird. So we're going to overlay another copy of the text. We're going to do a few things to it. First things first, what we're going to do is we're going to add a... Where is it? Matte control. We're going to throw a matte control in here. And what we're going to do is we are going to have the matte control dig into the edges of the letters. And we're going to do that by increasing the blur just a tiny little bit and then contracting. Now we're not seeing much yet, but as we do this, it's not doing it as well as I would like. Let's post multiply the image. That's much better. When in doubt, post multiply. We're going to do that, and look at that. So what we've got here now is we've got this kind of like a harder core going on top. But we don't see any change here. What we're going to do is we're going to change the color next with a color corrector. And we're going to go with, let's say, a deeper blue. Or maybe a green. Yeah, a little bit of a, like this maybe. Needs to be a different color. Let's go with like a pink like this. Yeah. It's not very realistic, but I kind of like it. Now, that's all well and nice, but it doesn't really glow. We don't have a bleed into the other cells, right? So we're going to come to our text here. We're going to add a glow node. I'm going to add it away from the thing so it doesn't put it in a weird place. And we're just going to add the glow here. And already we can see some wonderful stuff happening. So if I go back to my glow and I just increase the glow intensity, not too much or else we lose definition on the letters. And there we are. We're already kind of there. I'm going to grab my color corrector here, and we're going to try to increase maybe the gain to make the core just a bit brighter. There you go. There you go. Look at that. Much better. And that's basically the effect. The cool thing with this is if we shrink this down, just going to bring this in a bit. Boom, boom, boom. Oops. Can bring this in so it's all a bit closer. It's a really simple thing, and we can plop more things in, right? Like right here we've got like just the main text, but let's say we had this was the title and we'd have like a subtext or a subtitle. I'm going to bring in a subtitle. We're going to bring in a merge. I'm going to bring the text into here, and I'm going to add this. We're going to bring that out. This text is going to be a subtitle. Boom. We're going to move it underneath. And then we're just going to slap this in here. Oops. Let's disconnect this. Let's connect it back up. We're going to connect it here, and we're going to connect it there. And then I'm going to take this, and we're going to change it to a different color. Like a red. Bring this down. Change the text to a different font, something that's kind of cool. So let's go back to Baron. Here we go. I'm going to grab this and just move them down a little bit. Reduce the size a little bit. And here, anchor it to the right. And just move it there. And there we are. We've got like a really cool subtitle. And it was that simple. Now the cool thing is we could turn this into a macro that we could use elsewhere. The thing that we'd want to do is, for it to be kind of useful, we're going to make a second pattern for our screen. So I'm going to add a switch node. And if you don't know what the switch node is, take a look at my most recent videos because they're all there. We're going to grab these, yep, and disconnect them. I'm going to slap that one in there. You know what? That's a background with a rectangle. No, that's how I want to keep it. Perfect. So we're going to do that. I'm going to copy the background, paste it here, slap it in here, and instead of a rectangle, what we're going to do is we're going to do a bunch of circles. And we're going to do them like this. I'm going to grab this circle, slap it in there. Perfect. We're going to make it a tiny little bit smaller. 0.25 by 0.25. That's a little too small. 0.3. 0.3. No, you know what? 0.5 should be fine. 0.5, 0.5. Next, we're going to Control Copy, Control V this, and we're going to go and put it up in the upper corner. So its position is going to be at 0, 1. Control Copy, Control V. And it's going to be at 1, 1. And then it's going to be at 1, 0. One 0 will be the other corner, and then it'll be at 0, 0. There you are. And what this will do is it will create... I'm going to put this back into my transform. And if I go back to my media out, we don't see a change because it's still... With the switch, the switch becomes whatever it's plugged into and is currently selected. And you can tell what's currently selected because it's got the big arrow and the brighter line. But if I come here and I select input 2, look at that. We now have a pattern of dots instead of a pattern of squares. And that might be just a little bit too... It's a bit tight, eh? I'm going to go back into these, and I'm just going to add a bit of a soft edge. Let's take a look, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, let's add a bit of a soft edge to these. Just a little bit. Let's say 0.2025. I'm going to copy this. That's looking pretty cool. And you could do different shapes. So I could come in here and instead of putting a square, I'm going to grab that background again. What am I doing? Yeah, that's crazy. Let's disconnect this. I don't know why I'm adding a background every time. I can just add the background here. No. Get off there. we're going to add the switch into the mask and add that into the transform. And now the switch, instead of becoming a background, it's going to become a series of masks to the same effect, except I only have one background now. Makes things a bit cleaner. Right, and now I could instead, let's say, grab a polygon and slap that. Oh, I need to tell the switch that it needs an extra input. 3, so we're going to say square, half tone, and this one's going to be triangles. There you go. So we're going to put that in here. Like that. We're going to switch to triangles. And we're just going to make a quick and dirty triangle. Oops. Using this polygon. From here to here to here to here. Give it a bit of a soft edge. And now we've got triangles. And we could actually do it differently by having basically kind of like we did with the ellipse and putting them, you know, upside down and so that they'd make a bit more of a grid. But you can do pretty much anything you want with this. And now you can keep adding them, and we can publish this as a pull down inside our macro on the edit tab. So let's do that. Let's take a quick look. So we've got pretty much everything we want. Let's rename things so they make sense. So text, title, okay, and text, subtitle, not dub, but sub. Okay, and the only other thing we really need is the switch. We're going to call it switch pattern. Boom. There we go. Now, what we can do is we can select everything except the media out. Select all of this. Right-click any one of them and go to macro. Create a macro. And now it gives us this macro tool. What we're going to call it is I'm going to call it Evil Daystar so I can recognize it. Dot matrix title. There you go. And here we get to choose what we want to see in the inspector. So what we want is we want the pattern, and we want the source. Excellent. That's what we want. The next thing that we want is our text title. And in that, what we want is we want the text. We want the styled text. So that's the actual text we're typing. We might want the font. We might want the style. We will want colors. We'll want the size. I think that's pretty much what we want. And then we want to do the same thing for text. Did I do color? Yes. And then we want to do the same thing for text sub. So we go back to styled, font, style, colors, alpha, and size. And that's it. That's good. That's all we need. And yeah, we go file, we'll save it. Now the important thing is it's going to save it under Fusion macros. So I'm going to right click here and go open location. No, I'm going to grab this. Control copy. So I'm going to save it there anyways. No. I don't want to replace my Polaroid. Evil Daystar. What did I call it? Evil Daystar dot matrix version 1 we're going to call it. Excellent. And save. Now I'm going to go and open another file explorer. And it's in here under macros. Well, I don't want it there because this is under Fusion. So it'll show up under my effects in Fusion. What I want is actually to move this to another location. Let me go and find it. It's right here. So what we want is under DaVinci Resolve, Support, Fusion, Templates, Edit, Generators. Maybe not Generators. If we go under Edits, I'm going to put it under Titles instead. So we're going to put it in here, and we're just going to grab, let me get my other window here, macros. I'm just going to grab that new setting file and copy it here. Boom. Now, if I did that correctly, and I come here, I might need to restart though, and I go under Titles, and I search for, aha, there it is, Evil Daystar.matrix version 1. If I grab this and drop it in here now, I can come to the inspector, and I now have access to all of this. Superman never made any money. And I can change. Oh, I should have added a location. I should have added the center for these. Darn. So when I did my macro here, if I go back to it, open Fusion page, when I did my macro, dot matrix tool, where is it? Right there. When I did my macro here, under title, I should have also have included center, which should be layout. Aha. Yeah, it's a point, so I should have included center on both text, but oh well. We can fix that later. Just replace the file and it'll be fine. Actually, cancel. Let's do that right now. I'm going to choose center, and that was on, which one? That was title. And let's go sub. Same thing. We're going to go down here to layout, center. I'm going to keep that. And that should be good. Yeah. And close. And yes, we're going to save it. And now I just need to go and copy it again. So here it is. And where is it? Titles. Perfect. Just going to come here and overwrite it. Replace. Go back here. I might need to nuke this. And then I come back to titles, dot matrix. And now I've got the center position. So if I change my title, robots don't have rights, right? Which was the original text that prompted this this whole tutorial. No, they don't. Now my no they don't isn't at the edge of this, so I can grab my center and just move it like that. I can change my my font. I can increase the size, then bring it down. And there you go. So you got 2 tutorials in one. How to create this cool text effect, and how to create a macro that allows you to create your own fusion titles and other effects, so that you don't have to go and create a brand new tree every single time. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I really enjoy making these, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye!